Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, a Baxter Professional Services production. Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, where we're experts in nursing and experts in business. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. Today's guest is Kathy Scalzo, and today's episode, how one nurse turned burnout into a new career in finance. If you had a piece of advice to give to a budding entrepreneur, what would it be?
Don't give up. The only way to fail is to give up. And the money is in the follow-up. Like 95% of sales are made after the 7th follow-up. And most people only follow up 1 or 2 times. So if you can just keep following up, you're going to find success.
Okay. All right. Keep following up to find success. And that is something that we, as nurses, break free and come feel the sun with the Nurse Shark Academy. Nurses, are you ready to break free from the grind and build something of your own? It's time to take your skills beyond the bedside and step into entrepreneurship. Join our free webinar, Break Free, the Nurse's Path to Entrepreneurship, where you'll learn how to shift your mindset, explore nurse-owned business ideas, and get the exact steps to launch your own business. This is your time to take control of your career and create a future you love. Seats are limited, so grab yours now. Join us at the nursesharkacademy.biz. Break free and come feel the sun with the Nurse Shark Academy. Hello and welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. We interview nurse leaders and encourage them to tell their story. My mission is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining the confidence, skills, and freedom to live your life on your own terms. You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur. Join us and support these wonderful nurse, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Today's guest is Kathy, and I'm going to say, is it Scalzo?
Yep, perfect.
All right. And Kathy has had 20 years as a postpartum nurse, and now she's transitioning into financial services and helping nurses get a hold of their finances. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Well, thank you, Tina. Thanks for having me.
So I want to always start off the show by asking that important question, because I think it's so interesting to hear everyone's nursing journey. What made you become a nurse?
Well, my sister is 17 years older than me. So she was a nurse my entire life, basically. So it's kind of followed in her footsteps. I always wanted to be like her. I thought it was so cool because she was a postpartum nurse and she took care of babies. So oh my God, that's just something I always wanted to do.
Okay. So you had that role model from your sister. What was it like going into kind of the same career path as your sister? And you mentioned she's 17 years older than you, so she was kind of like almost a second mom, probably.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was great having her because otherwise I would have had to start out in med-surg. So she pulled some strings for me and got me straight into postpartum.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Very, very beneficial for sure.
Sometimes nepotism works in our favor, does it not? Yeah.
Sure does.
Yeah. So where did you go to school?
I started out at San Diego State University. Only went there for 1 year. My mom was sick, and plus I had a boyfriend at home, so I was like always coming back home. So it was silly for me to be driving, back and forth all the time. So then I transferred to LA Valley College, and then I went to Cal State Northridge, and I also went to LA Mission College. But I graduated with my nursing degree from LA Valley College.
Okay. So was that with your RN degree then?
It was with an associate degree in nursing.
Okay. So an ADN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And so what was that like at your very first nursing job that you got into postpartum? What made you choose that specialty?
Because I just love babies. I thought it would be really fun. Actually, I really wanted to do labor and delivery actually originally. That's why I originally went into it. But
Mhm.
then once I did my my labor and delivery like section in school, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do labor and delivery. So postpartum was a safer choice for me.
Okay. Okay. So, what was your first job like when you first got on unit?
Oh my gosh, it was actually really horrible at first because they don't teach you anything about being a nurse in nursing school, or I didn't learn anything about being a nurse. No hands on, most of the time we weren't even allowed to touch the patients. So it was all what I learned about being a nurse was on the job, and they expected me to know as soon as I got the job what I'm doing. So it was extremely stressful for the first year at least.
Well, I'm going to say because everybody's, I hate to say this, but the schools are different depending on where you go. And so you'll have one program that has really great hands on, and it depends on the nurses that are in the hospital if they're willing to train you. I remember being a student nurse on the pediatric unit, and those nurses would not let us touch the patients at all. They
Right.
didn't want to teach us anything because they were afraid they were going to come and take their jobs.
Oh, is
And
that what it is?
yeah, it really was
Never
because
thought of it like that.
the hospitals were doing those things where they would lay off all the seasoned nurses and hire the new grads. And so that was going on at the time, and a lot of us were like, we just want to learn. It was so uncomfortable for us, but even so for our instructors, our professors. And so they let us know what was really going on. So it really depends. I have to say, for the most part, we got really good hands on experience. And I know a lot of the students, and if you're listening to the show, you might have experienced this going through the pandemic. They kind of lost some of that, of not being able to have that hands on experience, and then kind of got thrown out there.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I thought I had it bad, but that's really worse when you can't even be close to the patient at all, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm glad that you stuck it out,
Me too.
and you got your first job on there as a nurse. And I get it because I was a brand new graduate, first fresh out of orientation and thrown into becoming charge nurse.
Oh gosh.
And when I say fresh out of orientation, I mean I was in orientation on second shift and I was charge nurse on third shift.
Oh my gosh. That's
I
crazy.
never left the unit
Wow.
and instantly became charge nurse because I was the RN.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
you were responsible for everybody when you didn't even probably know what you were doing.
Exactly. I had two admissions.
Wow.
Yeah, with no unit secretary
Oh my gosh.
and
Good times, huh?
a very crippled nursing assistant that could barely walk
Oh no.
because she had really bad knees. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Wow.
So I always say that, when you get those baptisms by fire, I think it's great that you did stick it out and continued your nursing career. So what other things have you done? Because you said you were in postpartum for 20 years. Were you 20 years at the same hospital?
I was 15 years at the same hospital. That was a long time because I like the first few years were good, but then sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, right? And I'm
Mhm.
thinking like, well, maybe it's better at a different hospital, but I always thought, well, the grass isn't greener on the other side of the fence. Probably it's just a different hospital. But then when I went back to school to get my bachelor's degree, because I was afraid they were going to start requiring it, and I wanted to make sure I didn't lose my job, so I went ahead
Mhm.
and got my degree, and the hospital was gracious enough to pay for that, which was awesome. But then I was only working 2 days a week instead of three. So I had that extra time. So I went ahead and picked up a per diem shift at another hospital and realized, yeah, the grass is actually greener on the other side of the fence. So I ended up switching to that other hospital. But then, you know, it became less green after a few years, same thing. So like
Well, what happens a lot of times when you stay in a place a long time, um, you kind of know the routine and everything, and they sort of cap you on how much you can make and how much you can grow. And so it's almost worth it sometimes to leave and come back, or to or change to do something different, just so you can get a new perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to have variety too.
Yes. I'm the type of person who needs variety, which is why I do all the things that I do. I get bored quickly if there was just doing one thing.
Yeah.
It's not my makeup. And I'm going to say, God bless you, those that work with babies, because my specialty is geriatrics for a reason. Not that I don't love children, I'm just terrified to treat them. What if something goes wrong?
Yeah. That's why I didn't want to do labor. It's like there's too much that can go wrong with labor. So
Yeah. Yeah. I went to school with some midwife friends, and so they're like, "Oh, midwifery's lovely. It's wonderful, and every birth is different." And I'm like, "No, it's not." Unless something exciting happens, but you don't want something exciting to happen. So I'm kind of
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
put
But
me with
still, like
geriatric.
every birth is still a miracle. Like no matter how many times I watched a baby being born, it's like still it's put me in awe. It's such a miraculous experience.
I just decided that, you know what, I'm just not that one. Like I said, it's kudos to people who really enjoy that. My cousin was an OBGYN till he retired, and I spent 2 weeks with him. And that's when I knew that this was not for me. I need
Well,
I
good
need
thing you
someone
don't like
to really be in labor. If you're going to wake me up at 3 a.m., you better be having a baby. That's all I got to say. But it's good to have those experiences. So, you mentioned working and going to get your bachelor's degree. Anything else that you did to help further your career? Because sometimes we have students who are listening, and they're maybe new or in their first couple of years. And so, what was it like throughout the years? What made you decide to stick with what you were doing? And was it just the love of the job? What were the things that you looked for that kept you there?
Well, I just couldn't imagine doing any other kind of nursing because like what's better than taking care of little babies? I mean, there's so many different opportunities for nurses, but I didn't know of anything that was better than that. So that's why I stuck it out where I was.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you feel that that's your place to be. Like, I love working with people with mental illness. So I gravitated to older adults, gravitated to people with dementia, gravitated to people with schizophrenia. And I always just joke and say, yeah, those are my peeps, And it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I had
so,
often thought about doing mental health. In the beginning, like when I had to do my rotation for school, I was scared to death. Like, I don't want to work with these patients. But when I did it, like, wow, it was actually a lot of fun. So I thought maybe that might be a route to take, but
mhm.
I
Well,
opted not.
if you're working in postpartum, you had to do a little bit of mental health in there.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. You get a little bit of everything.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And a
Hmm.
lot of family dynamics.
Yes,
Yeah. So,
for
can you
sure.
tell me one time that you could think that was like your best patient experience?
My best patient experience. Um, I don't know about anything necessarily specific, but my favorite part of it is when the dads are so involved in taking care of the baby and wanting to learn everything. It's just so sweet to see the dads all involved because some of them it's a cultural thing too, depending on what culture they're from. They
Hmm.
have different ideas about what the dad should do. So it was just so much more fun to watch the dad involved instead of, the dad just maybe not even being there, or if he's there, he's not even interacting with the baby. So I
Well,
just loved educating fathers.
well, that's so interesting because a lot of the times when I speak to nurses that are working in postpartum, the focus is on mom and baby, but dads do get forgotten. So maybe another thing you could do is to develop a program just for dads.
Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
bad idea.
Just things that maybe they never would have thought to ask, but make it a safe environment so that they could ask those
Mhm.
things and help build their confidence that they're able to help take care of baby, particularly if there is a bad outcome and they suddenly are now a single dad. That may be important.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's something to think about. And hopefully somebody listening on here will be like, hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to
No,
build a business on that.
that might be a good business for you too. A little side hustle there.
But I had to focus. I have found myself in the past like going in too many directions at once. I'm like, I
Yep,
just got to focus on one thing.
exactly. So
Yeah.
did you did you what made you decide then to switch over to going into financial world? What made you go there? Because that's so different from taking care of babies.
Yeah, it definitely is. Because I was just so incredibly burned out. Every time I went to work, all I could think was how much I did not want to be there anymore. So I talked to a friend of mine about it, and she's like, well, you already help people, so you'd be really good at financial services because it's just another way to help people. I'm like, you're absolutely crazy because I know nothing about finances. It makes no sense. So, every time I talked to her, she'd say a little something. And then she invited me to this meeting with her company. I'm like, I don't want to go to this meeting, but she's my friend. I'm just going to go and support her. So I went and I actually liked it. Like they actually helped people with their retirement and the energy in the room was really great. And the CEO of the company was a nurse like me. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can do this. So I went ahead and got my life insurance license and joined that company. But it wasn't really all it was cracked up to be because once I got in, it was just recruit, recruit, recruit. Like I don't even know what the business is really. So I don't really know that I'm going to want to recruit people to it. And then it was all about calling all your family and friends and ask them to help you. Like, of course they'll help you. If they don't help you, then they're probably not really your friends.
Hmm.
Don't worry about what anybody says. And then I'd ask about the products. I want to learn. I'm selling these products. I should know what I'm selling, right? Oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to know. Just copy my words. Like, I'm dealing with people's money, especially their retirement. I think I need to know what I'm doing. So I'm like, forget it. This business is definitely not for me. So then I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up because I knew that I just did not want to be a nurse anymore. So I was dabbling in some different network marketing companies. And then I met somebody at an online networking event who told me about the infinite banking concept and suggested I read the book Becoming Your Own Banker, which I did, and completely changed my life. Like,
That's good for
oh
you.
my gosh, why didn't I know about this before? And everybody needs to know about this. So become obsessed, basically.
Okay. And so you started out because this is important because a lot of entrepreneurs may start out in a network marketing company or in some sort of new venture and they're very excited about it. But then kind of when you start getting into the weeds of it, it doesn't become as fun anymore. And so there are some pitfalls when you're looking at business ventures and what would be best for you. So how did you navigate um, that situation where you weren't feeling as comfortable with that company, and what made you decide to go on and do something different?
Go on to something different from the company that I originally did financial services with.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I actually, before I even, I think the reason why I got, not the reason why I got burned out, but the reason why I was realizing that there was something more than nursing is because I actually got into a network marketing company only because I saw a post on Facebook about this product. It's a nutritional product that gives you energy, it gives you this, that, the other. I'm like, if it gives me energy, then I'm trying it. I'm going to try anything because I was just a zombie. I worked 12-hour
Hmm.
night shifts, so I was just walking around like a zombie the rest of the time, not having time for my kids, always just telling my kids, I'm too tired, I'm too tired. So I started taking that product and it completely changed my life, gave me so much more than energy. Like the trees were greener and I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. So of course I was telling everybody about it. So I learned that you can actually earn income in a different way than pension
Yes.
and spend clock. So then I felt like my job was actually getting in the way of my business. That was my excuse. I'm like, I'm not able to go do the things I need to do with my business because I have to work. So I'm just gonna quit. So I quit.
Okay.
And then the business is not so much fun. When you're changing people's lives with a nutritional product, you just really want to help them. But when you have to do it because you have to make money, it's not so much fun.
Yes.
Especially, with all the personalities and drama that you deal with, with the team and everything. So I'm like, this isn't for me. So that's why I
And
went.
it happens in any entrepreneurial adventure. You start off, it seems you get excited, but then when it becomes, hey, if I don't work, I don't eat, then it
Yeah.
becomes, so for some people, a chore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always tell people, if you want to start your business and start growing, then keep your 9 to 5, start small and grow slowly, and that way when you have to depend on your business and your time ready to let it go, you're in a much better place than feeling desperate and you're calling all your friends, please buy my product because I have to make the mortgage this month, right?
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't feel good. And there are ways to do sales without having to feel salesy or icky or anything like that, that you take it from an approach of helping, which nurses naturally do.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get started doing exactly what you're doing now? And tell us a little bit about your current business and what you're doing.
Well, when I met that person at that networking event who told me to read that book, Becoming Your Own Banker, I did that and changed my life. So I joined her and her company because it was just selling different kinds of life insurance products. But then I didn't really like the multi-level model for financial services. I think it's fine, for other network marketing things, but as far as financial services, I didn't feel like that my pay should be based on how many people I recruit. Felt like it should be based on my own production. So that just wasn't a good fit. But then I found through it, it's a long story where I got to where I am now with the company, but I'm just so aligned with the company that I'm with now. And I just have such a passion to help people realize that they don't have to be letting the banks earn all the money off the money that they leave there. They don't have to leave stuff their money in these retirement accounts for the future just to get penalized to use their own money and to, I was saving in that 403b for 20 years because I wanted
Mhm.
that tax write-off mostly, but it wasn't really a tax write-off. It's just a tax deferral to pay at an unknown tax rate in the future. So
Exactly.
so once I realized that there was another way to save for the future and then be able to leverage my money for the future to finance my current life, I just had to spread the word.
And so if nurses were wanting to talk to you about this concept of being their own banker, how would they get a hold of you?
And they can find me on LinkedIn. It's
Okay.
my LinkedIn profile ends in Kathy Scalzo.
Okay. And we'll be happy to put that in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you. Do you have like any programs or trainings or anything coming up that people can come to?
I just recommend checking out the YouTube channel Life 180 and also the Nelson Nash Institute on YouTube to learn more, and definitely read the book Becoming Your Own Banker.
All right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you this last question. If you had a piece of advice to give to a budding entrepreneur, what would it be?
Don't give up. The only way to fail is to give up, and the money is in the follow up. Like 95% of sales are made after the seventh follow up. And most people only follow up one or two times. So if you can just keep following up, you're going to find success.
Okay. All right. Keep following up to find success. And that is something that we, as nurses, we're good to do that with our patients, but not so good to do that for ourselves. So I really appreciate your time and your advice for us. We've had a wonderful chat with Kathy. Don't forget to go to her LinkedIn page or go to the YouTube channel Life 180 to learn more about what she's doing and how to be your own banker and take care of your finances as a nurse and entrepreneur. So thank you for coming. And this will end our program today. If you are listening to us uh, through Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a like or a comment. We would greatly appreciate that. If you want to become a patron of our show, you'll get behind the scenes episodes and special episodes with guests that will be talking about how to build your business and how to further your business as entrepreneurs. And we'll be having some special content available for our patrons that you can get for that through our Podbean account. And then also, if you're watching us from YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you know whenever we have a new podcast episode come out. Thank you for listening and see you next time. Ready to turn your nursing skills into a thriving business? At the Nurse Shark Academy, we give you expert strategies, real startup guidance, and the support to go from employee to empowered entrepreneur. Join us and build the nurse-owned business of your dreams. Start today and join us at the nursesharkacademy.biz. Thank you for listening to the Nurse Shark Academy show wherever you get your podcasts or watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll know when all of our episodes come out. If you want further information, you can contact us on the nursesharkacademy.biz.